those who follow politics back home, even when she became first female prime minister, they asked her, "How does it feel to be the first female?" And she was like, "Why don't you just? How come you don't ask me about policy? Why don't you ask me about the vision that we have to move the country forward?" She was caught off guard from that question of her gender. That's just the type of person she is. And then also, she has been a woman playing in the men's arena for 40 years. Her father died when she was young, and she had to take over his title and his stewardship and his village at such a young age. And I feel like even when there was this one interview when she addressed the other elites in the panel, she addressed him as Uso. Now, in the Samoan context, when a female says Uso, she's only referring to other females. When she called them old men Uso, she was referring to herself not as a male gender, but she was referring to herself as an elite to another elite, which meant it was gender neutral. I found that very interesting in that interview when she referred to the other men as Uso and not Tolane.
How did they react to that?
It was normal because they know who she is and they recognize her ancestral role as Fiame, as Mata'afa's daughter. None of the old men looked at her weird. No, they nodded and they agreed and they continued that dialogue with her. But I found that was very interesting to me.
That makes sense, GaFa, because then it's like she's saying that they're on the same level, which...
Yes, she was recognizing them as her being on the same level as them.
Yeah.
So to me, that was her way of saying, don't look at my gender, look at my title and the role that I play. Because Fiame is a living being. It's a name that will be passed on. That's why we say Owailo Ingoa and not Oleado Ingoa. We say, who is your name? What is your name? Because your name is a person. And that name will continue for the next several hundred years after you. So every time you ask for a name, you're asking the person and everyone who held the name before you. To me, that was her way of saying, Yoy, I'm not just me. I'm everyone who also held this title too. And I'm on the same playing field as you are.
Yeah, that's why a lot of us, not just Samoan, but with a lot of the oral traditions, names carry so much weight wherever we go. And that's why we're, like you said, it's like, where are you from? What's your name? What's your family name? Because it's not just you. It's like everyone that came before you. So, yeah, what we represent.
It's a story. I was just thinking, like, we have this thing in our history, in our legends, where like Nafanua, Salamasina are so revered. So I was so excited when Fiame came in as Prime Minister. But ever since everything, it just makes me feel like we're just praising this. Is it just an idea, or is it really part of our culture? So that revere, like, are women not revered? It's just like a double standard.
It's interesting that you mentioned Nafanua. Even Nafanua herself had to disguise herself as a man during wartime. It was not until the gusher wind lifted up her garment that they saw her bare chest and realized she was a woman. So even she didn't want her gender to be an issue. She wanted her merits and her talent, her zeal, her smarts on knowing how to strategically fight wars, battles. That's what she wanted on the forefront. And I feel like Fiame is the same way. I don't know, for those of you who don't know Nafanua, the legend Nafanua was fighting wars. She was badass. And all the other warriors thought that she was just another male until a gust of wind blew her garments up. They saw her chest and realized, well, this is not a warrior. This is a warrior. This is a warrior princess. She's a female.
Mulan who?
It was not
Mulan, right? Mulan who?
Samoan Zina.
You did it first.
Mulan who?